Welcome to the Write Good Books podcast, the audio companion to WriteGoodBooks.com, with your host Jason Bougger.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We're starting out year number 2 of the Write Good Books podcast, and I've got to say I'm super excited about this year. I'm Jason, and I'm with us once again with our co-host Scott Michael Childers. How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing fine for this brand new year.
Brand new year. You have a good new year?
I did.
Good. We were sick at home, but otherwise it's good, and we're ready to go. So with the new year, I'm super crazy about writing down goals and priorities every year. And I don't always hit them, but I like to set them. So I kind of wanted to talk about that today, how to basically set goals that you'll achieve. And
that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, to make sure you achieve them. And Scott, you know what? You have the honors since you deal with this a little bit at the day job.
Yeah, part of my day job is I work with libraries and as part of their planning process, we include creating goals. And there's a methodology that I tend to use with them. And it's creating a goal with 3 parts. The first part is identifying a need. You have to be setting a goal for some reason, whether it's writing, fitness, library management, time management, whatever. What is the need? What is the problem? The second one is, what is the goal? What is the big idea that you're going to take care of, to do? And then objectives. These are specific things that you're going to do. For example, let's say in your writing career, let's say you want to do more marketing of yourself as an author. Okay, there's your need.
A good idea.
Yeah, always a good idea, right? So there's your need. I need to improve my brand. And so you write it down like that. The need is to improve the brand.
Okay, I like that.
And so the goal, okay, so what's the big idea that you are going to do to fit that need? And you can do this all sorts of ways, saying that you need to improve your brand. There's lots of ways you can do that. So what is it that you are actually going to do? Let's say in this case, you're going to use Facebook more. That is your goal. My goal as an author is to improve my Facebook visibility. I will be using Facebook in a more meaningful way. Now, granted, that sounds good, right? I'm going to use Facebook more.
You need more specifics. I'm going to increase by this many likes or whatever.
Exactly. That's where the objectives comes from. That's that third part. These are the very specifics. And this is where you put down your measurables and dates and stuff like that. So, for example, we're talking Facebook. So you are going to, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to post once daily, twice daily, 3 times daily. Whatever it is. That's objective number 1. Objective 2, you are going to choose to reply, moderate, prune replies every afternoon, every morning, every weekday, whatever works. Now here's the thing, you need these steps to be stuff that you can do. So I could say, I'm going to be on Facebook I'm going to post 20 posts a day. That's not going to work for me. That's not attainable for me.
Right.
And this is something you guys are going to have to look this up, but there's something called SMART goals. It's usually is attributed to management guru Peter Drucker. It was initially brought out by, George Doran. And SMART goals, and this is where the objectives. Specific. Target that specific idea. Measurable. Can you measure it? Can you look back and say, yes, I hit that, no, I didn't? So, did you post once daily? Did you post 6 times a week? Did you write 500 words? Assignable. Who's doing it? Granted, if these are your personal goals, it's going to be you.
Right.
Maybe. Maybe you have a goal that maybe you're working with an agent or a co-author or a cover designer or a graphic designer. So who's doing it? Realistic, this is what I was talking about. Is this manageable with your current schedule, with your current skill set, your family situation? And then time related. Make sure you put a deadline on this. I think we even mentioned it in the intro part of this. What's your deadline?
Because goals without deadlines are daydreams.
Pretty much, yeah. That's a great way of saying it. So this is the same advice I give organizations working on plans for their libraries, but you can break this down into your own personal goals. And so this is what I would suggest as a methodology. That's not the only methodology. And Jason,
Sure.
you do yours slightly different.
Slightly different, but it comes from the same idea. Every year for the last, I want to say at least 5 years, my wife and I, every New Year's, we sit down and we write down, our top priorities of the year. And I always, with me, it's kind of what do I want to accomplish, and I'll make a list of 5 and I'll just put this is the highest priority, this is my next priority, and then what will I do to achieve them, and what are the deadlines. In some cases the deadline may be New Year's Eve next year. Other times it might be I want to do this every month. One year I want to say 2012, I said I want to write a short story every month. And
Okay.
I came close. I think I got 9 done, but
Hey, 9 out of
I got
12.
10 published in 2013, so it worked. I wish I could do that again. But for word counts, it's the same thing. You might want to set daily goals, but I kind of like on New Year's setting your overall year, your flow for the year.
So these are two kind of similar approaches to making goals. You may have your own favorite method, but I think one of the things that both of what Jason and I were talking about is one, and I don't think we actually said this, but we're writing them down
Yes,
in one way or another. You do yours very publicly.
I do on websites.
And I tend not to. Then again, I hardly post anything. I am a social media hermit, and yeah, I understand that. But we're writing them down. We're taking that act to commit them. And then there's another thing. Here we're talking about year-long goals.
Mm-hmm.
But you could do this for, hey, this is my 5-year plan.
Oh yeah.
Or you could do this is my month plan. It's like, according to the situation that's going on, I've got a month that I can commit to doing a lot with my writing this month. How am I going to make the best use of this month? Or maybe it's the other way. Maybe it's like, wow, this next month is going to be crazy. I really need to prioritize. And this could be something to help. What are my goals for this month?
Yeah. On a personal note, with baby number 4 due in March, I know I'll be writing here's the bare minimum I expect to get done in March.
Mm-hmm.
And then April, my bare minimum, I'm giving a couple of speeches, so that's going to be pretty much all I'm working on is getting ready for that. And I know everything else is going to be dealing with the change in life events, if
You're
you
going
will.
to be stocking up on coffee. That's
Yeah. It'll be
congratulations, by the way.
Yes, everyone, congratulate me. Send money to my PayPal. No,
We're going to kickstart his 4th child.
there you go.
One of the tiers will be you get to name it, but you also have to pay for its college education. So
Yeah.
there's the trade-off. We digress.
We do. Okay, so when you're setting goals, how do you know whether or not you will be able to achieve these goals?
Well, that's a tough one for some people, because some people are dreamers and they
Yeah.
want to do everything. And
Yeah.
you know what? That's fine, especially if you've never set goals for yourself. You're gonna fail on reaching some of those goals,
Yeah.
perhaps. So don't beat yourself up. Just learn from it, and next time realize, wow, this is going to take more time, or I don't have that experience level to do this yet. And then you could adjust the next time you hit goals. These are goals, right? These aren't laws.
Yeah, you're not penalized or fired for not achieving them.
Right? These are directions for you to take your actions.
Yeah. I've seen 2 schools of thought. Mine, I try to take a more realistic approach, because I do beat myself up a bit if I don't at least come close to my goals. But I've seen other people say, set the biggest, craziest goal you can come up with, and then that'll keep you motivated to do whatever you can to get there.
And for some people that
It
works.
might work for some people.
I've heard some people say have one very big, hairy, audacious goal, or just huge, crazy goal would make it one. But then all your steps are trying to get to that one big goal.
And everything you do should try to get you there.
Right. And so that's one thing you can keep in mind. It's like, I have this one really big, crazy goal, but the stuff I'm writing down are smaller steps to get me there.
Yes. Yeah.
another exercise, especially if you've never done this before, is do a strengths and weaknesses. Just take a look at yourself, say, what's going on in my life? Where am I in my writing skills, in my career, my connections to people? Do you have an agent? Do you have a connection with a publishing house already? Do you have a pipeline for speaking engagements already? Take a look at that before you write your goals, because then that can help you create more realistic goals.
Yeah. And part of making it realistic, if you're already a writer, you kind of have a good sense of what you can write in a night. So if you struggle to get 500 words done in a day, or even say 1,000 in a week, or whatever, don't go set a crazy, I'm going to do 1,500 words a day. If you've never written 1,500 words in a single day, don't expect to do that every day. Set something a little more laid back.
Yeah. And you can do something like, I'm going to increase my word output by 5% each month.
Sure, that's
and
great.
build your way up to that.
And reevaluate.
Yes.
Periodically, almost regularly. I know when I set more specific goals, I used to every month, first of the month, I'd look at where I am and what I've done and come up with new goals, kind of adjust. This year, for example, I just want to get a book ready to query.
Yeah, and with all the life change, what did you call that? The life changing,
something like that. Yes.
Whatever you called it before, that's going to affect life. So you can't have the same output.
It's true. And
now that when you started,
I wrote my first book as a NaNoWriMo after my first baby was born, but I take that back. My second book was a NaNoWriMo after the first baby was booked, but I can't say, well, I did it once with one kid. Well, it's a little different with 4. So
yeah,
make sure you adjust for where your life is at a certain point. Your work hours might change and stuff.
So we've talked about making goals, and I want to share another thing that comes from my day job, where I've had organizations and people, they create goals for themselves that are mutually exclusive, but want to hit both of them. And so you have one goal that is actively working against your ability to do or to achieve another goal. Let's say one of your goals is, I want more work-life balance, including my writing career. And then your next goal is, I'm going to write 5,000 words a day plus keep my full-time job. Unless you are a really fast writer and you're talking first draft speed and you're not talking about revisions or editing, those two are probably mutually you can't hit both of those. Work 8-9 hours and go home and do 5,000 words, unless you've already tried it and you can do it. But for beginning writers, those two would probably clash. So again, it's being realistic, and don't set up goals that will set up one goal that will keep you from reaching your other goal.
Right.
These things aren't isolated.
Right. In my case, I'm focusing a lot of my energy on marketing my novel, so I'm spending a lot less energy writing my next or getting my next one ready. And
yeah,
you can't set two big goals and go 100% on all of them. You have to be able to prioritize and say, this one will get 80%, this one will get 20% of my time.
Yeah. And this might be one of those things where instead of looking at a year, you're looking at a 3-year plan. It's like, okay, in 2017, I'm marketing novel number 2 or finishing novel 2 or whatever. And number 3 is I'm spending all my time trying to sell it.
Yeah.
You may look at a 3-year plan or 6-month plan, whatever period. We're talking year because, hey, it's New Year.
Right. And, we've rambled on plenty now. Should we end the podcast sharing some of our annual goals?
Sure. Okay.
I'll start. Mine is a simple one. I want to have my second novel ready to query. My problem is I don't know if I want to use the second novel that I have done or write another one. But by the end of the year, I'll be querying another novel. That's my big goal. And then I've got some smaller short story goals, and I want to continue to build the blog and podcast and some littler things. But that's my big goal. What about you?
One of my goals this year is to reintegrate myself into the social networks. Like I've joked, this episode and other episodes, I tend not to do a lot of social networking because I'm so focused on other issues. This is the year where I'm going to try to get back into it. So that is my need. My goal is I'm going to use my Facebook presence more. That is, Twitter I have, but I'm going to focus on Facebook this year.
That's a good goal.
And my objectives, I'm going to post at least once a week. I know that's less than most experts say. Experts say 3 times a day. I'm starting small and working my way up.
It depends on what you're posting to.
Yeah, I'm starting at least a post a week. But if there's any discussions that show up on my author page, I will engage fully in those. So that would be my objective number 2. So that's one of my goals, is to reintegrate myself into the real world of social networking. /tag sarcasm.
Which is good. And since we love our audience, we'd like to hear you guys' goals for the year. So go ahead and leave us a comment at this post at writegoodbooks.com/podcast. And I think we'll check out for now. So have a great new year, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.